Hello, beautiful people. It's TK, and we are talking about what do I want. I've done the whole three-part series on it, but this is a bonus final special wrap it all up in one word answer. So, what do I want and how to overcome disappointment? I'm going to tell you what we've already discussed and already know. What do I want? What do we all want is happiness, peace, inner contentment. At the most essential and primary level, when we focus on what do I really, 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 really want, that's where we all end up. So, but on the day-to-day things, I want this material thing, that relationship, that job. We constantly find ourselves getting disappointed when we don't have what we want. So disappointment we're defining as the attachment to an expectation that has not yet happened. So how do you break disappointment? You separate that. Okay. That's the backdrop. We've talked about all of that in the series. So you can go back and through our Remarkable Wellness postings and some through, not this one yet, but some through YouTube. You can go back to the prior. So we're not going to go deep on each of those, but this is how we first become aware of the disappointment. We realize what it is, and then we pull out our spiritual toolbox. What is going to help me? I need to understand how the world works. So we have the law of attraction. When I'm disappointed, I'm actually keeping myself from going quickly to the next great opportunity that's there for me because my energy is negative. It's like a veil that gets put up. So we talk about how the world talks to us by finding these messages and synchronicities and all of that. And now here's the final answer I have. And I want to, again, make it all personal. I started on this conversation around disappointment because there was a role that I wanted. I had decided to actively look again after other disappointments with my business and whatnot. But that's okay. I'm like, no, this is good. I want to be around people. I want to get out in the world. I have a different message now. Okay, go through this, have what looks like the perfect role. And then I was a little disappointed because it didn't seem like it was going to come to bear. So I worked through this whole discourse on disappointment using my spiritual tools, having a new level of understanding and appreciation. And the opportunity comes back and I get the final no 2 days ago. And again, I was disappointed. And it was ironic, dare I say synchronistic, that I had just thought I completed a series on how to get over disappointment. And yet, when I found myself disappointed again, I had to ask myself, well, what's this about? So I go back and watch my own series, and it was very helpful. I was reminding myself of what I already knew. This is a journey. These things, even though you know things intellectually, when you have to practically put them into place, that's where the work comes, and that's where we miss our mark. So I am here to do this bonus to say I had to do the work, and this is how I did it. So when you find yourself, you may know these things, but how, again, do you translate and put it into practice? I don't want to be disappointed. I know all things are working for my good. I've asked, I'm trying to figure out this receiving thing. Okay, but you keep having that conversation. It took me about 4 times. But 4 times within the last 48 hours, I'm feeling pretty good about it. And it came down to me saying, you still questioning, you say ask and you receive. I'm in this space. I'm doing all these things. We just did 3 parts on it. Why do I still have this feeling? Take this away from me. Help me let it go. You know, what is it that I'm missing? What is still the lesson? What is still the lesson that I have to learn to let go of this? And because the universe is kind and benevolent, I got the answer. I went into stillness. I spent the day by myself. I watched some mindless TV because my mind was thinking too much. I did some meditations, but I just did self-care. Just, you got an issue, girl. Work your way through it. Don't wallow in it. Recognize it, work your way through it. You got all the tools, you talk about it all the time. So do it. Don't talk about it, be about it. So what comes to me is, because all things are working for our good, and as I've said in the series, and my will needs to only be aligned with God's will, so therefore I should be happy. So God's will, I did not get the role, it's not even though I still had attachment to how the process played out and things they had told me and all of that. So, but that's okay, because if it's not in God's will for me to have the job, I won't have it. If it wasn't in God's will, I would have it. So I say I want to be aligned. How can I actually get this feeling out of my body where I'm not aligned because I'm disappointed? So help with the connection. And I got the answer, which was, one, stop trying to understand everything, just trust. But I wasn't able to do that so much. So Spirit helped give me a little bit of understanding that would get me to the next level that I needed, because without it, I just wouldn't get there. But I first needed to be conscious, aware, and willing to hear it. So Spirit says, you wanted to give value to that company as part of your primary essential qualifications. You wanted to be a part of that. You wanted that to be a part of your experience. And you did that. That you going in there, being as fabulous as you are, and they not choosing you for that role, holds a mirror up to them that they will then have to live with and still work through. They had a moment. A big reason I wanted to go was a great culture, and they wanted diversity in their C-suite, which a lot of companies are talking about now, but they don't have it. They had a moment where they could have made that happen, and yet and still they weren't ready to make it happen. But what I did was put the picture up. So now maybe it'll take 2 or 3 more tries down the road when roles become available for them to get it. But I started or participated in the momentum of that process by being a fabulous, strong, diverse candidate that none of them, many of them probably had never had the opportunity to do that. But I was able to do that. I was able to represent myself and all that I am, and hopefully break some stereotypes and barriers. But it still did not get them to get to the next. At this level, we know it's all about fit, because of the experience almost speaks for itself. So it's about fit. I get that. So if your fit continues to be other people that look like you and do and think the same way as you, then that's what it is. Why should I be disappointed about that outcome? It's unfortunate that that's the way the world still is, but I know that's the way the world is. I'm here to be a beacon of light to break that. And if I participate in that, then I'm not doing what my essential calling is. So they said your impact on that company is going to last longer now than it would have if you were physically there, your body in that seat. So you got what you asked for. You wanted to add value. Now, what you need to do is realize that you shouldn't even have to. You should just be trusting that if it was for you, you would have had it. But you got to understand a little bit more. They're getting more value out of the complications that are going on, the internal conversations they're having about, are they truly living their mission? Those conversations that they're having and going to be having are going to be heightened and magnified because of the decision that they made about not bringing me on board. Can you live with that? I was like, oh, that's pretty good. I still wanted to get a paycheck every 2 weeks, but hey, if that's what you're saying is for me, then that's what's for me. And so it is the word too, because the other side of it is I had to forgive myself because I had become so attached to wanting it, which is good to want it and have excitement. Like we've talked about, we should be excited about the things that we want, feel that we have them, but not be attached to the outcome, because many times God has an outcome greater than what we can see. So I was still attached to this outcome for what I wanted, not their growth and I did want that, but I still wanted what I wanted. I'm not gonna lie. And so I had to, through this conversation, with spirit, with my light, my inner divine intelligence, was like, you're still attached to something that I'm telling you, there's a better reason or cause that you serve. Now you know it, move on. And I was like, and it was like, and then forgive yourself for the attachment, or for having these expectations and then feeling disappointed because of it. I mean, that's normal. So forgive yourself. This is the process. And I swear, a breath of fresh air and exhale came through my body physically and spiritually. It, like, that whole heaviness, that what disappointment will bring. Once I forgave them, like, oh yeah, I just helped them. I helped them. I still help them. They got a whole process to go through. It's not my issue. I guess God has used me to serve my part in the issue. So maybe it was my issue. But now I can let that go, let them be free. And now I can continue on and forgive myself for being so attached. I'm still as good as I was before this opportunity presented itself. My resume hasn't changed. My ability to add value and be a light into the world still exists. So what in the world? Once I forgive all of that, okay, it wasn't time wasted. It was time used, because that was where I went to. Like, I guess it was the whole month, the process, and this and that. It wasn't wasted. It was valuable for instruction, for learning, for getting to this point of forgiveness. Just forgive the whole situation. You understand how the world works. Know that you were used for their opening their eyes, and then know that you can let it go. You have to detach. Forgiveness is the word. It is the way. It is the doing of letting go and still trusting that it's still happening. It's forgiveness. Forgiveness. You're not forgiving that. We have the wrong definition of forgiveness. You're not forgiving like what they did. You're not saying it's right, but you're saying, hey, I get it. You're not ready yet. You're not ready to be enlightened, awakened, diverse. You're not ready to be the things you're saying that you want to be. And we do that in our individual lives. I want to be healthy. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to whatever. You want these things, but you're not yet able to pull the trigger. And I'm going to forgive you for your humanity and not take it personally. That's called detaching. That's how you do it. That's what it is. You can't just talk about it. You can't make yourself, you have to do it. But I'm telling you, just pull out your spiritual tools. Know that all things are working for your good. When you can't figure out how to understand that, ask for understanding. And I'm telling you, you're going to end up at forgiveness and gratitude for where you are, forgiveness for where other people are, grateful for the encounter, for the lesson, and then you continue to open up and blossom like the lotus flower. 48 hours, y'all. This would have taken me 48 days, okay, to get to this point. But I'm actively, consciously living in these principles, and they do compress time. 48 days went 48 hours. And I am going to go out on a run or a walk. I think I'm just going to walk today. Just enjoy being and existing and knowing that what's for me is for me. It's here now. It's coming. And I create the future in the present. So my ability to shine and sit in the understanding of these divine wisdoms, I won't complain. What do I want? Love and light.